Nintendo Cartridge Society presents NCS Classic Edition, The Legend of Zelda, Part 4. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, joined as always by my co-host Mark Mitchell. Mark.
How's it going, Patrick?
Ah!
I never know who's going to talk first.
I never do either. I mean, I talk first,
Right.
but then who talks first after I've finished saying your name?
Great point.
Right. I always say, I always introduce you and then start a sentence.
Mhm.
I'm like, Mark Mitchell, Mark. And that's where we have confusion as to what should happen next.
We did it.
We did it. We've conquered Ganon. We've saved Hyrule.
We pulled the triforce out of Ganon's guts.
Let's start there because that was probably
Spectacular.
the biggest shock of the last third of this game is when you kill Ganon, and you kill him. Make no mistake about
you
it.
Shoot him with a silver arrow.
That's right. A silver arrow that you have needed for nothing up to this point. Murder him with a silver arrow, and he explodes.
In the viscera.
Yes.
All that remains is a pile of his guts.
Yep. A pile of Ganon guts with a triforce sticking out of it.
Then Link just fishes the
Yeah.
triforce out of the guts.
Right, and licks his enemy's blood.
Yeah, and rubs it all over his body.
And just goes, "Ah!" So that was surprising to me.
Yeah, that was surprising.
I'm sure I've seen that before, but like I
had no memory of that.
I have no memory of it, and I don't remember anyone talking about it. Because like
Right.
the game's not you're killing creatures and stuff, but like it doesn't feel like a violent game in any
Nope,
way.
everybody just disappears.
Everyone just disappears as like a little bleep, and they're gone.
Uh-huh.
I was momentarily reminded of, I guess, spoilers for the end of Wind Waker. But at the end of Wind Waker, you stab Ganon like in the head.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I remember thinking that like that is a rare spot of like real violence in that game. And it has me wondering now, like, is the Ganon fight always a little bit violent?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Just maybe these two great examples.
I think I'm trying to think, and I
Yeah, I don't
can't remember something like that.
Yeah, like in Link to the Past or
I mean,
anything.
definitely not in Link to the Past. Definitely in none of the 3D games does he explode into
God, it'd be so funny
into like
if
blood.
like, you slice him and it just like blood splatters on the camera. That would be the hardcore Zelda game
Link
fans
just,
been asking for.
Yeah, the hardcore Zelda game that fans crave. Link's just like standing there, breathing heavily, his shirt torn, his blood just like splattered over him.
As he can hear the cries of his dead relatives like in the background. Basically what I'm saying is we're turning it into a God of War game, right?
Yeah, give Link a kid.
Give Link a kid.
Put that camera over the shoulder.
That's right. So it's the new God of War game specifically.
Yeah. We'll just call it Link.
Oh, here's the thing. I would play that.
No, you wouldn't.
I would, because Nintendo would do it. I mean, if Nintendo did it, it would be Nintendo doing it.
Right.
And they would be probably pretty good then.
That's true. It'd probably be adorable.
Yeah, that's right. You'd be so cute. So that's the end of the game. Should we skip back to the dungeon level 7?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is where at this point we're like, okay, we've gotten pretty much everything on the map. Also, maybe last time did I say that we had 18 hearts?
You know what? I can't remember.
Yes. So there are only 16 hearts in the whole game. So we know. This is the apology portion of the non-apology portion of the podcast. Anyway, we grabbed one of the last like straggler heart pieces.
Yeah, so we right before we got to Dungeon 9, the end of the game, we were like, "Oh wait, we're missing one."
Yeah.
So we went to the overworld to grab the one that we had missed.
It's the one that you have to bomb for in the southeast corner, like sort of near the shore.
Now you're gonna want every one of those hearts.
every single one. You're gonna want every single heart. You're gonna want a red potion. Again, this is all going to level 9. Do we just need to talk about level 9?
I think so. I mean, look, the first two are so 7 is kind of unremarkable.
Yeah.
It's difficult, but only in the way that like level 6 was. Like
Was
these are the first ones where we actually had to like puzzle our way through them.
right. So 7 though, was 7 the one that ended with the boss from level 1?
Yeah, the dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you just pop him twice with the sword?
Yeah.
Because at this point we have the magic sword.
I mean, all the bosses, like we were talking about last time, have kind of been a disappointment. Even Ganon.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
But yeah, to see the level 1 boss there
yeah, again
and
in
being
level 7.
no more difficult, really.
No.
Because at least the other dragon, like the one whose head moves around,
Yeah.
or heads moves around, like the Hydra, at least he has more heads.
Yeah, which it makes him more intimidating. There was also level 7 reintroduced the is it called Dig Dogger, the thing that you play the whistle to defeat?
Yeah.
Um,
Or was that level 8 that we had? It must have been 7 because I was playing.
yeah, that's right. And
And you see that like 3 times in that dungeon.
yeah, but the weird thing is the first one you encountered and you played the whistle, do da 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 da. Instead of turning into one little eye, turns into 3.
Yeah.
So like it's 3 times as hard as the
The
as-
boss.
as the boss of the previous level. Yeah, nuts. Okay, so you were playing through level 7.
Yeah.
What else was going on in there? I'm not sure I have the cleanest memory of it.
Which is weird because we played it not that long ago.
Yeah, but like
What was the item you get in it?
that was the
Was that the red candle? That was the red candle.
yeah, that was the red candle. Kind of a pointless item.
Yeah.
Because you get the book for the wand in level 8, and that turns your wand into like a wand / candle.
Right.
But it does. Here's what we were saying. So you get the red candle, which allows you to burn as much as you want without leaving the screen. And you find level 8 by burning a bush. So theoretically, if you don't know where you're going for level 8, you are suddenly given the power to burn as much as you want. So it would then be easier to find it on the overworld.
Well, it would at least be an indicator that you need to burn things.
Yes.
The game is good at leading you in that way.
Right, without telling you. Like leading without telling. Yeah, go ahead.
It was also level 7 that we had to go back and buy some meat.
We did have to go back and buy some meat.
And I'm guessing an old man in a cave somewhere told us that we would have to do that at some point.
No, I don't think so. We hadn't been picking up the meat in this game, which I believe is called bait. And you can throw it down at any point in the game, and the enemies just sort of like mob on it instead of you.
Oh.
But I don't know if it works.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
I think it's just an overworld thing. Like I think in dungeons, you're not fighting against animals. You're fighting against like mummies and knights and stuff.
Right. Also on the overworld, they are very generous with like hearts and
Yeah.
fairies and
Yeah.
rupees. But when you get in the dungeons, it becomes very stingy. The drops become a lot less.
Yeah, absolutely. So level 7, we were saying kind of unremarkable, other than we had to feed the.
So we had to leave,
Yeah.
farm some for rupees,
Yep.
buy the meat, and
Right.
then go back. That was like the most. Yeah, 7 was fine. But 8 was where it became like challenging.
Well, level 8, to me seems like it is primarily a test of your combat ability. Like the rest of the game is like, yeah, sure you're fighting, but you're also exploring. Level 8 was just like, just kill all these things. Like,
So it's no surprise. I was like, Patrick, you should do this one.
so I decided to drive. But that was good, I think.
Oh,
Yeah, like
yeah,
it was the right choice.
absolutely.
Um,
I would have been miserable in those dungeons. Like I would have been miserable playing.
yeah, sure.
Like if it was just me, that's like one thing. But having somebody else have to suffer through you like performing poorly is not.
What was it? What made me yell at you in this? I feel so bad, but I did. Mark did or said something,
No,
and I
it
went,
was
Mark.
it was when we were using the whistle to warp when we were using the recorder to warp around, which we weren't last
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Last issue of this magazine.
we talked about whether we would use warping or not. Turns out we did.
It's handy.
Uh-huh. And yeah, I warped like in the wrong direction. So we just never went anywhere.
Also, I think it was like we were where we wanted to be, and you just pushed B again,
Yeah.
or something.
That sounds like me. Yeah, that sounds about right.
I feel so bad. We're playing a game. It doesn't matter. In any event, yeah, warping around the map is kind of neat. And I like that if you're facing up or right, you warp to like the next numbered dungeon that you already beat, and if you are facing down or left, then he goes like backwards through the rotation.
And another one of those things where you would have no idea.
Yeah, no way to know that unless you were like experimenting with it.
Yeah.
Or you
Red
have
Nintendo.
the internet,
Yeah, or like Nintendo Power or something.
right? Or call the Nintendo Power Pros
Yeah.
at whatever that hotline is. Maybe 1-800-Nintendo.com. .com.
.com.
Oh no. Yeah, so level 8 frustrating but actually kind of a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun to like figure out where we were supposed to go. And there was backtracking in it, but it never felt overwhelming.
Yeah, and actually I think that was one where we were playing it and you had like a guide on your phone, and I was like, no. Like
Yeah.
let's just do this. And that felt totally like manageable and fun. Where I don't think it would be manageable or fun is level 9.
Boo.
Level 9.
It's not like so level 9 is they just Death Mountain. They
Yeah.
just throw enemies at you.
It's enormous too. The map it's like a double map.
Yeah. Do you know, it's supposed to look like a skull, I think, but to
Yeah.
me it looked like one of the
Ghost from Pac-Man?
or bad guys from Space Invaders.
Yeah, okay. Presumably some manner of space invader.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that dungeon's too big. It's too big. There are too many times where you need to just like bomb walls. I do think that one of the like technical limitations of this game is that like I don't think limiting you to 8 bombs increases the fun of this game.
No.
And I get that it's a matter of like how it's storing information, and it only takes up like 1 bit or 2 bits or something to get to the number 8. But man, it's a bummer. We got to a point in level 9 where we needed to leave because we had used our bombs. Also, we died, but but you know that you need to like go back out and farm bombs or just wait until you encounter more bombs.
Speaking of bombs, so
Let's talk about this.
Yeah, so there's an old man in level 8
I think that's right.
who gives you a message that is the 10th enemy has the bomb. Is that what it says?
Or has bombs, one
Has
or
bombs.
the other.
Yeah.
And so Mark did a little digging because we were like,
Right.
what is this guy talking about?
How is this relevant in any way?
Yeah.
Because usually when you get those hints, it's like to lead you to the next level or something that you'll need to know in the dungeon itself.
Yeah.
This one didn't seem applicable to anything.
So it turns out that in the Japanese version of the game,
He
what is
tells
it?
you to get the magic key.
Right, which is something that you could overlook in level 8.
Yes. And what it does is it allows you to have unlimited door unlocks, which is super helpful.
Yeah, and that I would use just for fun in the 9th dungeon. We walked into a room where there were 3 locked doors, and Mark was like, okay, go left. And I was like, nope, I opened all 3 doors. I figure if Ganon wants them locked, I want them open. So that, yeah, so go for the master key seems like a good, a good piece of advice. So surely the 10th enemy has the bomb is also good advice.
Right. And so what people were saying worked for them was that apparently when they were killing 9 enemies without taking any damage, the 10th enemy would drop a bomb.
Now, we tested this.
on the overworld,
Oh, good point.
and it did not work.
Did not work.
It we but we never tested it in a dungeon.
Or in that dungeon. I wonder if it's
Yes.
specific to
Oh, sure.
level 8.
Level 8.
Here, okay. So okay. Let's put this little thing in a capsule. But then also, I was standing in front of the entrance to level 8, and I blew the whistle. Boo da dwee diddle doo. It's a recorder. I'm sorry. And the tornado starts to come, and an enemy knocks me out of the way.
Oh yeah, it was one of the centaurs, right?
Yeah, one of those centaur guys knocks me out of the way, and so I don't get carried off by my friendly tornado.
Yeah, that was cool.
So here are two things about this game that like I didn't know, like two fundamental ways this game works. And I know we're saying it so much about Breath of the Wild, like, oh, I didn't know you could do that, or I didn't know this was part of this game. And you and I aren't like super experts on this game, or even experts.
We're fans.
We're barely proficient at the game. But we've finished it. We've beaten it. We're big, strong men, and we've saved.
We have big hands.
We have enormous man hands. But yeah, I just think it's cool that there are still parts of this game that, like, the game is still sort of revealing itself, or still has mysteries in it. 31 years later. So, okay, warping around, finding that last heart piece, level 9. What?
After beating this game,
Yeah.
really enjoying it,
Mm-hmm.
really enjoyed it, really want to watch a speed run of it
Yeah.
to see how people get through it so fast. I can 100% understand why when Zelda 2 came out, people were like, what is this?
Yeah. I mean, it is. I would happily do one of these for Zelda 2.
I
really like that game.
I've never beaten it, and I tried to get into it on my NES Classic when we got the NES Classic, and had really struggled with it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those. It's probably even more impenetrable than this game. And it uses a bunch. There are a bunch of cases where the NPCs are telling you what to do, but it's really poorly translated. So like their instructions don't make any sense. So yeah, it's one that I knew how to play as a kid because I had Nintendo Power, and Nintendo Power told me what to do. So I'm sure that's part of the reason why I really like it. But
yeah, because this last time I played, I tried to even play through with a guide.
Yeah.
And it seemed like there was no good way around it, because it was like playing with the guide, I just felt like I wasn't doing anything, because it was just like, go to this location, go to that location, you're right, it didn't feel fun.
Yeah.
But trying to do it myself felt impossible.
So I feel like that's the way guides are written now, or like guides online are written. They're just like a very procedural, go here, go here, go here, pick up this, go here. I almost wonder if there would be a market for a guide that is written just to like aid you in the experience of interpreting the information you're getting yourself. So if like if there's a guide where it's like, then you reach this village, go talk to everyone in the village. And then like you've got to turn the page or something to like get to
more of like a hint system than like a guide.
Yeah, or is exactly. Being like, remember what that dude said, and then you're like, oh no, I didn't. Go back and check out what he said.
I mean, I guess that's why Navi exists, right?
Listen. So there is no Navi in this game. There's no voice that tells. There's no what are the names of all these helper?
Oh gosh.
So there's Navi in Ocarina. What's the name of the fairy in Majora's Mask? Is this a bad idea for us to try?
I think this is a bad idea. I think we're just
one of them
infuriating.
Is Fee.
Yeah, Fee. That's the one in Skyward Sword.
Right.
Midna.
Yeah, Midna in
Twilight Princess.
Geez, that might be the best I can do. The King of Red Lions.
We're just we're just infuriating people right now.
No, don't.
They were driving to work and just like teared their steering wheel off,
No, no,
threw
no,
it
no.
out the window.
No, they love this. Look, when we say something dumb and someone knows better, then they can be like, huh, I know more than these guys do.
Yeah.
Like, just no reason to be mad about it. Just be smart. That's fun for you. So the game ends, right? We blast Ganon with one silver arrow after hacking at his it is kind of disappointing that like Ganon isn't animated at all. He's just a sprite that appears
Yeah.
and then disappears. I can imagine being really confused about what I'm fighting if I didn't have an idea of what Ganon was already.
Yeah, you only see Ganon for a few seconds.
Yeah, and then
At
before he
most.
explodes.
Before he explodes into a celebration.
Yeah, before it's skeleton fireworks.
Innard confetti.
Yes. And then Link is victorious. He goes into the next room where Princess Zelda is waiting behind fire.
That can damage you. So theoretically, you could have
You
like
could
half
die.
a heart.
Oh, can you imagine? Can you imagine beating Ganon and then going into the last room and being like, Zelda, I'm doing it. And then just burning to death? Oh, so terrible. You have to murder the fire with your sword.
Mm-hmm.
And I did take damage there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had never put out fire with my sword before, so why? Anyway. And Zelda's wearing like a red dress.
I don't remember.
I mean, obviously the NES can do pink. We see it in like Super Mario Brothers 2. But I think she looked a lot like Link, and Link at this point is wearing the red armor.
Yes.
Red and brown. So you meet up with Zelda. You both hold triforces over your head. I don't really know. So there are 3 triforces, right? I want to break down the mythology here.
Where in the timeline does do the 3 triforces sit? Is it the same triforces in the other games?
Or are they connected throughout parallel universes by like a quantum particle, right? Like if you affect one,
right? Or like quantum leap?
Yeah, just.
Did you already say this? I feel like I'm having an aneurysm. Did you already talk about how we said that you could get the red ring?
Oh yes,
you could.
We have not talked about.
Okay.
So in the last issue of this,
yeah, the last issue,
I said, oh, maybe it would be a good idea to pop into level 9 and grab the red ring, and then before you're ready to actually do the dungeon, and then pop out so that you can use that extra defense for whatever dungeons are towards the end of the game.
Not possible.
Not possible. Mark, why don't you tell them why?
Well, Patrick, if you don't have the full Triforce, which you get from completing the other 8 dungeons, there's an old man who's blocking your path into level 9.
And you can try to give him meat, but it won't.
It won't work.
It won't work. I want to go back to talking about the Triforces.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh, good.
You're collecting one of the Triforces,
Uh-huh.
shards of one of the Triforces.
Yes.
There are 3 of them: wisdom, power, and courage.
Uh-huh.
Wisdom being Zelda's, power being Ganon's, courage being Link's.
Okay.
And at the end of the game, you pull one out of Ganon, right? So is that a separate Triforce from the one you've been collecting?
Yeah.
Okay. So
yes.
So you've been collecting the Triforce of wisdom, presumably? Or are you collecting the Triforce of courage? Zelda has her own.
I think your courage. Zelda has her own.
Okay.
And then you get the one from Ganon, and then you have the 3, even though they only hold up 2 at the end.
Okay. So we're just so we don't hold up the third one, the Triforce of Courage, because we just put it back together. You want to be careful with it.
Yeah.
You don't want to drop it and have it shatter into 8 pieces again. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's how it works.
So then credits roll on this game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like 4 people made this game.
Everybody's using
pseudonyms.
Pseudonyms, except for the executive producer who was the old president of Nintendo.
Nope, I'm not gonna know it.
I know, I'm not gonna know it either. Navi. We'll just say Navi.
Yeah, Navi. Yeah. So yeah, all using pseudonyms. And then twice on the credits it said 1010, like
Mm-hmm.
the word 10, the word 10. I don't know why.
That
Um,
must have been somebody's pseudonym.
yeah, maybe. Or it could have been like the name of a team
Oh, possibly.
or something. Kind of a group pseudonym. And then it's like second quest is ready for you, or like another adventure awaits. Press start. Um, so we've got second quest sitting there. Uh, do you have any desire? I'm not saying let's do it, but I'm saying, do you have any desire to jump into the second quest, be it today or ever?
No, not really.
So,
I'm not a huge New Game Plus guy.
right. Well, and this isn't even that because you don't have anything. Like
Right.
you start back at zero. Um,
So is it more difficult?
I think it's more difficult. All of the dungeon entrance locations have switched. So like nothing is where you think it is.
That doesn't sound fun to me at all.
Right. I mean, other than we could just find another map and just do it again.
Right.
But I mean, there's something to being able to like remember where these things are, or yeah, I don't know. It just seems like there's not as much like cultural significance to experiencing the second quest.
Well, yeah, because I feel like part of the fun of playing a video game over is getting better at it.
Yeah, and this would be arguably getting worse at it. Or just like being as good at it but just not knowing how to use how good you are at it.
Yeah.
Um I think that would playing second quest as an adult would be the only way to replicate the feeling of like the first time you played The Legend of Zelda, cuz just like wiping the slate clean and being like no, figure it out all fresh. Um and I think it does say something that I'm like, I don't want to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
No interest in doing that. All right. Well, I think that's gonna about wrap up our conversation about the Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
Mark, do you have any
We
stray
would
thoughts?
love to hear you, dear listener, your opinion
Yeah, because
on
you
The Legend
played
of
along
Zelda.
with us, right? 3 dungeons at a time.
Like we said from the beginning.
Yeah, we did say that.
I mean,
Yeah, no, we'd love to hear your experiences with Zelda. When were you getting? When did you get the bracelet? We didn't even mention the bracelet.
oh yeah, we got the bracelet.
We pick. Oh yeah, we got the bracelet. Yeah, we picked it up like heading into level 9. But like you can get it earlier to kind of use it as a sort of warp system around the map. Um, did you do that? Did you get all the hearts? When did you get the magic sword?
Just like when was the first time you played? What was your experience with The
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda? We love hearing that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Exactly. And what place does it hold for you now?
Have you ever done the second quest?
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
What are the names of the helpful Zelda creatures that we forgot?
That's right. Yeah.
The ones that made you rip the steering wheel off of your car.
Mark, I think everyone is just happy and chill. I don't think people get as mad as you think.
Why do they listen to podcasts then?
To not get mad? Do you get mad at the podcast you listen to?
It's the only reason I subscribe.
It's the only reason I talk to anyone. All right. Well, hey, also if you have any suggestions for what we should play next,
We have an idea. We were thinking of doing
Mm.
Donkey Kong Country 2
Yes, that's right. I'd
for the
forgotten.
SNES.
Because both of us are big Donkey Kong Country fans, but haven't really played 2. Also, how should we play it? Should we play it on the Wii U Virtual Console? Should we dig out a Super Nintendo cartridge and play it that way? We can play on some like creaky old Super Nintendo controllers.
Yeah.
And then if you have other suggestions for games we should play, it's we can have a big backlog of this. I think it'll be fun. So that's gonna do it for.
Oh wait, where should they send those suggestions?
Oh, they should send them. Thank you to Nintendo Cartridge Society
At gmail.com.
or you can tweet at us at NinCart Society or message us on Facebook. We're just Nintendo Cartridge Society there. All the usual ways that you can get in touch with people. Mark's phone number is I don't know anyone's phone number off the top of my head. Great. Thanks for joining us.
That's a Creative Podcast Network.